Are you a fan of The Simpsons, whether you've watched every episode of this American animated series or not? You've undoubtedly heard about those things that have happened in reality which The Simpsons had strangely predicted. And some of these things really make you think, would you like to know some of them? Here are the similarities that exist between The Simpsons and reality. The animal world is currently shaken by an epidemic called chronic wasting disease, more famously known as CWD, a contagious disease that affects deer at the level of the nervous system and gives them a zombie-like appearance. Currently, the epidemic is spreading in North America, and it's not impossible that it could do so in Europe and other regions of Asia, where the disease has also been identified. The most worrying thing is that this disease is potentially dangerous to humans because it could be transmitted through the consumption of meat, reminding us of the mad cow disease, just like an episode of The Simpsons in which we can see the inhabitants of Springfield turn into zombies after biting into a burger. The zombie apocalypse could become a reality if humans ate infected deer meat. In any case, The Simpsons have already sounded the alarm. Have you heard of the Epstein case? You've surely heard of Jeffrey Epstein and his infamously known island that was the subject of an investigation. More famous names appear on the long list of people who had a connection with the American billionaire. And this list also includes the famous scientist Stephen Hawking. By the way, did you know that the British astrophysicist was the subject of a Simpsons episode? Long before this sordid case was known to all, it was 1999, and many have claimed that The Simpsons referenced Stephen Hawking's alleged connection to the Epstein case. In any case, an episode titled "They Saved Lisa's Brain" has piqued viewers' curiosity because, in the episode, we can see a character embodying a scientist taking young Lisa Simpson with him, which was seen as a prediction. Lately, there's been a lot of talk about a phenomenon that could happen in the very near future: solar storms. And The Simpsons seem to know a lot about this phenomenon, especially about the damages it could cause, as we can see in one of the series episodes. It must be said that solar flares are a harbinger of significant damage, especially to underwater internet cables, which could cause an internet outage. This indeed consists of a global internet blackout that could happen following this solar storm predicted for 2025 and could last for a long time. NASA has even issued warnings about it. And as if that wasn't enough, The Simpsons' predictions have reached the hypotheses that have apparently been put forward by scientists. But tell me something, if this internet apocalypse were to happen by misfortune, what would you do? Would you be able to live without the internet? Here's information that will please ufologists and alien hunters. According to The Simpsons, there could indeed be an alien invasion. Well, if you believe the famous yellow characters, these creatures could end up mingling with us on Earth. They could land on our planet to abduct people, as we can see in a video when Milhouse Van Houten, Bart's best friend, is kidnapped by a creature resembling an alien. Obviously, all this is speculation, but imagine if it were true, we could see flying saucers parked somewhere, and we could even recognize one of these aliens without difficulty because of their unusual shape. What kind of feeling would you have in this case? Would you like to greet them? Or would you run away in fear of being abducted? There is a theory, according to which the Earth will be destroyed by a black hole, an element of the universe that is famous for its extremely powerful gravity. If you believe this story, then this gravitational catastrophe could mark the end of the world if, of course, a black hole came too close to our solar system. Although from a scientific point of view it is very unlikely that this will happen, this does not prevent us from imagining a bit what it would be like to be attracted by a black hole. According to American astronomer Phil Plait, the Earth would literally be torn apart, which would be logical after all, given the force with which the black hole would suck in various parts of our planet. This is chilling, but wait a minute, doesn't this remind you of a Simpsons episode? Of course, in the Treehouse of Horror 23 episode, we can see how a black hole sucks in the city of Springfield as well as its inhabitants. And yes, like many things that we have seen in one or more episodes of this series, they have really ended up happening in reality. Well, many have lost sleep for days after watching these episodes. And you? Do you really believe that a black hole could destroy life on Earth? Since its existence, the world has been struck by a series of wars and conflicts that have multiplied over the last century. World War I, World War II, the Cold War, the Middle East conflict, the Iraq War, etc. The list has been growing since the beginning of the 1900s, and it seems that it is not yet over. In 2022, Russia announced the invasion of Ukraine. And with the advent of this new painful chapter in history, a Simpsons episode particularly caught the attention of internet users. It is the episode Simpson Tide, aired in 1998, which shows a representative of Russia at the United Nations, showing the Soviet Union as it is reborn, with everything it once represented: the red flag with its sickle and hammer, Lenin, as well as the Berlin Wall reappearing again. Wow, it's as if this Simpsons episode, aired 24 years ago, had anticipated what is currently happening in the region. The invasion of Ukraine by Russia seems like one of the premises of a third world war and a possible resurrection of the Soviet Union, don't you think? Who nowadays is not familiar with artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence has become a hot topic, but what you may not know is that The Simpsons had already talked about it long before the 21st century. And what they said about artificial intelligence really gives food for thought, because in the series, this artificial intelligence is simply perceived as a threat to humans. Moreover, one of The Simpsons episodes set in the future clearly shows how artificial intelligence, at advanced levels, will pose a danger to humans due to the use of robots in the world of work and the high unemployment rate that this will lead to. Even worse, from The Simpsons' point of view, this artificial intelligence could become independent from humans, to the point that it could take control of everything, including tasks such as destruction, law enforcement, or maintaining order that usually require human intervention. Not to mention other important things in life, such as human relationships. And yes, it's a fact, but nowadays, especially in some countries, we see more and more people establishing relationships with robots rather than with people. And this point was indeed addressed in a Simpsons episode. Unemployment, loss of control, lack of human relationships, social problems. For The Simpsons, artificial intelligence does not only have advantages, but also disadvantages that must be taken very seriously. And in 2024, the United States will know its next president. But did you know the series and The Simpsons had already announced in one of the episodes aired in 2015 the candidacy of Trump for the 2024 presidential elections? Indeed, after a good period of speculation, Donald Trump has indeed ended up announcing his intention to run for the American presidency in 2024. Yet another prediction of The Simpsons that works. It is precisely on that occasion Jean-Paul, the screenwriter and producer of the series, published a tweet in which we can see a snippet of the 2015 episode with Homer Simpson above a presidential campaign billboard, on which we can read Trump 2024, and it's not the only Simpsons episode in which the former American president is mentioned. In an episode aired in 2000 titled Bart to the Future, the budget cut left by a certain Donald Trump was already evoked. Now we come to the main question that everyone will ask themselves. How could the creators of The Simpsons series have guessed that Donald Trump would become president one day, and that he would run again for elections? Do you think it's just by pure chance? Do you know about holograms? If you have never heard this word before, here's a simple explanation to enlighten you on the subject. Holograms are three-dimensional images obtained through the technique of holography, apparently a new technology that could really know progress in the future and advance certain sectors, such as communications, for example. And this is not me saying it, but The Simpsons. An episode of the series has indeed already shown how this technology can be used in mail. In the Bart to the Future episode, we can see how Bart Simpson receives mail from the postman in the form of a hologram. After traditional mail and electronic mail, it would now be the turn of holographic mail to be used. If not for today, it will certainly be in the near future. And until that moment, these things will no longer be science fiction, but will be part of the reality of future generations. Imagine how in an instant you could also use hologram technology to receive or send mail to someone. Wouldn't that be brilliant in any case? Technology enthusiasts will never hesitate to use holograms. I have a question for you. Could the United States one day be presided over by a woman? Well, that's a big question, you might say, considering that many claim that this could very well happen. A woman could indeed one day be elected as President of the United States. Remember, The Simpsons had already talked about Donald Trump in one of the episodes of the series, long before the latter's descent into the presidency. In the Bart to the Future episode, Lisa Simpson, the most intellectual character of the series, ends up as President of the United States. For feminists, this episode is undoubtedly revealing of an important future event, the one in which Americans would finally have a woman as president. For many fans of the series, the Bart to the Future episode is a nod to Kamala Harris, the current Vice President of the United States and the first woman to hold this role in the country's history. Currently, the predictions are proceeding swiftly to define who will be the next elected President of the United States. and I am sure that in the future we will see a woman occupy this role. Now tell me in the comments, how do you think the Simpsons are able to make such revelations? Thank you for watching, like and subscribe to the channel.